I can't do this, it's too much. Hi, welcome back to my channel, La Fraise. I'm Noémie, I'm a student in costume making here in Brussels, and this week I'm going to talk to you about the all-in shirt. This one, sadly, I can't model for you within the video because I made this fourth shirt for my wife. I really didn't need any more shirts in my wardrobe, as you know, I've already made 3 for myself. So I will talk about this shirt. I quickly want to address the shirt I'm debuting on camera today. So this is my patina blouse. A lot happened with it, there's a lot to talk about. But this is not the star of the show today, so I will not talk about it. And to hear about all the drama and the adventures around the patina, you will have to wait for my seasonal roundup at the start of June. But so yeah, so you know what I'm wearing, beautiful big color here and everything. Despite all the drama that I will tell you about, we are now friends and I'm very happy to be wearing it today. But so, the all-in shirt that I made for my wife. I shall grab my notes and tell you all about it, but what I can tell you already is that I made this in a lovely, very thin and drapey viscose from Églantine et Zoé, which is a French brand. It's a little bit on the pricier side, but my wife has loved this print for a long time and I'm very happy I was able to make this for her. She already feels like it belongs right in her wardrobe, so I'm very happy with that. So sadly she did not want to film little clips for me, so we will just have the photos, but I obviously can show you it here and you can see how drapey and floaty it is. Obviously very beautiful drapey viscose, so that is to be expected. By the way, I'm sick, so I'm very sorry if I sound out of breath. I am quite out of breath and it's quite a challenge to film today, but so bear with me and we'll get through this shirt together. It was the first time I used my projector to cut this shirt, and you're going to see it is going to come back several times as a bit of an issue because testing a projector for the first time is one thing, but obviously then trying to make a shirt which is quite complex and trying to do this well, I feel like some of the mistakes that are in here are projectors related and not really any fault of the pattern, and I should have maybe lengthened the sleeve. In any case, she still likes it. The collar, when shot, has a really lovely shape. I kind of messed up the collar when I did it first. Big boo-boo and had to redo it, but I'm really happy I redid it because I think it looks really nice now. I did put the optional front pocket, which I think looks very nice. It has a traditional cuff with a little cuff placket. If you need a tutorial for the cuff placket, I have made a video about this and they use the same method as me in this pattern, so for me that's really good. There is a back box pleat and a curved hem, so really a traditional shirt like all the ones we've been seeing so far. You might notice that I could not put the button aligned with Francesca's apex. That's a bit of a shame. With the button placement, I had to make it work because of the number of buttons I had, and she was like, it's fine, I have such a small chest, it's going to be fine, but I can see on some of the photos that it does gape a bit at the apex, which is a shame, but I did my best and I really couldn't put the buttons in another place. So if you are wondering about the button placement, yes, I did notice, and yes, sadly that is how it is. So the pattern is €9.95, and actually Pattern Emporium has also a little discount code for you guys. It is this one and you get 25% off until the 15th of June if you want to get this pattern for a discount. I would also like to say actually that Pattern Emporium has very kindly sent me this pattern. You guys requested this shirt specifically and Kate was absolutely lovely and gave me access to it so I could review it for you guys. So I should actually mention this because lots of brownie points for them. You also get a discount, and obviously there's also the link in the description and everything. I do have an affiliate link with Pattern Emporium, so that means that if you buy through my link, it doesn't change anything for you. Obviously you can use my discount code, so it's even better for you. It does mean I have a little kickback when you buy the pattern, so if you are considering to buy it anyway, it supports me to buy it through the link in the description. So back on the shirt, so I was on the price, that's why. Views, there's so many views for this shirt. Let's go through all of them. So obviously everything I'm going to say, it's a mix and match, and it's not only that. But so you have a sleeve with a cuff, that's the one I did. You have a short sleeve, you have a short sleeves with a ruffle, you have a basic long sleeve, you have a long sleeve with an elastic, you have a shirt length, and you have a dress length, and you have a plain collar or a collar with a stand. And what I think is kind of genius with this shirt is that if you are a beginner, you can start making it maybe with the easier collar and a basic long sleeve, and then your next one up you go with a collar with a stand and a basic long sleeve, and then the next one up you go collar with a stand and the shirt sleeve with a cuff. And this pattern gives you a really good building block to start simple, have something that's still going to look and feel like a shirt, but then you can build up and make it more and more proper shirt-like, but start easy. So that I really loved, and I do love that you have an option for a dress as well, because I do love a shirt dress. What you get when you buy the pattern, you get the instructions, the A4, the A0, 2 projector files, which I used this time, first time in my life. I also stuck all of the A4 together, to be honest. The projector file, you get it with colored lines and with black lines. The A0, you can print in black and white even though the lines are in colors, but they also have different type of dots and dashes to make the lines look different. For the print at home, I think Kate just assumes that you are going to print your size. Now, I always print every sizes and then trace whatever I need. I no longer do this actually because I use a projector, but I did when I started this shirt. So I printed the whole thing in A4 in colors so that then I could trace the right size, and that obviously was a bit more pricey to print in color. Now I think this way of doing is quite rare. In the end, originally I would have flagged this as a negative thing, that it's in color and that it doesn't have the different lines in the A4 as well, but I think most of you guys, if you print A4, you print only your size and you don't have a problem. So I will not mark them down for that, but I do want to highlight it. If you are more like I used to do, you print in A4, you stick everything together and then you trace only your size, know that the lines are all plain and they're just different colors. I feel like that's a little bit of a shame, because for the A0 the different line designs have been made, so I feel like it could have been done for the A4 as well. It is both in Matrix and Imperial. All the way you have all of the information. The sizes goes from a size 4 to a size 30. I have this much fabric left, and I feel like because I used my projector I could Tetris a lot less than I do normally, so I probably used more fabric than I normally use. But I did buy more fabric than they recommend, and they recommend 1.50 m for the size I made for Francesca. And honestly, when I see the fabric I have left, I don't know if I could have made it work in 1.50 m. Again, I really want to say, first I messed up some of the pieces, so I had to recut a collar, and I also cut an extra yoke. Yeah, maybe it would have fit in the 1.50 m, but then you would need to not be discovering how your projector's working, and you would need to be comfortable. I personally find that 2 meters for this style of shirt, for Francesca's size or my size, 2 meters is a very comfortable amount. That's what I had here, and the fabric you see I have left is for 2 meters. So 1.50 m, I would definitely have been a bit stressed cutting that out of that, because that would have been a tight squeeze. The pattern is rated experienced beginner, and I think that's fair because of all the options that it gives. I feel like an experienced beginner could make this pattern and that you could progress and level up with it. So all the views are definitely not experienced beginners, because I think making the collars and the sleeve placket and everything is more advanced, but definitely there is a shirt version in here that is experienced beginner. So for me, if you want to start in the shirt world but you are still new at it and still a bit worried, that's a really good one, because of all the shirts I've made, it's the only one that really caters for beginners as well as for more advanced people. Is it a proper shirt? So yes and no, obviously, because we saw all the modifications that there are for beginners, and actually it simplifies really intensely. So if you even don't want to make buttonholes, she explains how to put poppers and just sew buttons on top of them. It's kind of genius. So if you really are scared of buttonholes, of collar stands, of button plackets, of all the things, it really simplifies it down almost as much as you need to. So I feel like for this it's kind of genius, but it's also a proper shirt depending on the view you make. So the notes I have made, the collar has 2 pieces like in a proper shirt. Now I had a real nightmare with this because again I was using my projector for the first time and I clearly cut the wrong piece for the undercollar, and so when I was trying to do the undercollar it just like would not work, and clearly I didn't have the right piece, and so in the end I used twice the same pattern piece for my collar. So I didn't use an under and upper collar even though the pattern had them. Sorry Kate, I'm sorry, you did really well, I did badly, because I was looking at the pieces I had and I was like, what have they messed up here? But when I looked back at the file, I was like, no, those pieces look fine. I'm the one who really cut the wrong one. The issue I have with my projector is that I'm really struggling, maybe I should try to figure it out, I'm really struggling to not have everything blurry on my table, and so I can't read what piece I'm cutting. Okay, that's a me problem, not a shirt problem, so let's move on. The original shirt pattern has only 1 yoke and sews it kind of like a normal piece, and I really wanted the 2 yoke thing, so I have a second yoke here and I sewed it with the burrito method. So for me, 1 yoke, that's moving away from proper shirts, so that's maybe one of the 2 things I really want to mention. Not 2 yokes, and also it's not a proper button placket for the front, so it's just the extended front and then you fold it twice and that becomes your button placket. So you don't have a separate button placket piece, which honestly, worn, it's totally fine. When I did the photo shoot with Francesca, like it did not cross my mind that it was not proper. So honestly, I don't think it's a problem, but if you have to be pedantic and I have to mention all of the things, I will mention that. But so yeah, not proper shirt because it doesn't have the front button placket, but I personally don't think it's really an issue. And doubling the yoke and doing the burrito method, I think it's a modification you can do super easily if you know how to do it. So not a problem for me either that it's not included in a pattern. There's a policeman on horseback. I don't know if you have this in your city, but in Brussels, policemen are quite often on horseback, and Milo doesn't like any animal that is not a dog. So sorry, we had to complain a little bit about that. Where was I? Yes, for example, something that can be made easier for beginner, she has the proper way of doing a sleeve placket, one that I approve and that is the way I do it as well. So she follows my method, so I'm very pleased with that. But she also have a simplified version. It's kind of like, if you want something that's going to work and be good enough without overthinking it, here's a way, and you can do that way and it's going to work. And I kind of love that, because when I started sewing, I was all about those shortcuts and those things that would make it work, even though it's not the proper way. And now that I am more comfortable, I enjoy doing the fiddly things and everything. But I actually really like how this pattern can grow with you, and you can start with the simplified placket and then move on as your skill grows. So that's great. Now, the instructions. I have to say, when I arrived in this booklet, I had a moment of like, I can't do this, it's too much, I don't want to. It could have been that it's shirt number 4, and so, you know, the motivation to sew shirts is starting to dim. But also, Kate doesn't have drawings, she has photos, so everything is a lot more colorful and everything. And I opened this and I felt very overwhelmed. Past the overwhelm, and I want to encourage you as well, because if you tend to be overwhelmed, honestly, it's fine, because once you start, you just follow step by step. And then it's a bit like a choose your own adventure. So it's like, oh, and if you want this color, go to that page, and then, oh, okay, now go back to that page, and now go and do that. And once you're in it, you're totally fine, like really, you're totally fine. And I'm a really easily overwhelmed person. It's just arriving to it, because there's also a lot of inspiration photos and everything. For me, maybe the inspiration photos could have been in a separate file or anything, because I just like trying to sift through all of the information felt like a lot. And it's such a tough one, because at the same time, it's amazing that she gives you so much inspiration, so many options, all the different ruffles, you know, for the price. you get a lot more options than you get in the other patterns I talked about. But then it also means that when you look at it all, it's a lot. And so I kind of want to encourage you, because I started feeling quite negatively about it, and I ended up being like, okay, that's just like when you arrive into it, it feels like a lot, but it's very, very clear. And what I also came to understand is that it just has a lot of photos to help you. And so, for example, I looked at a step and I was like, there's 7 photos, it's going to be impossible, I can't do this drama. No, actually the 7 photos, so that you can see it under every angle, so that it's super clear. And so in the end, something that I started not liking, I was like, wow, you really have everything you need. And I have found that with the 7 photos step, sometimes you're like, oh, okay, there's this one photo that clicks with my brain, and maybe if she had just put the 6 photos and not that one, that wouldn't have worked for me. And I think she really takes into account that we all understand things differently and need different things to understand. So actually starting on the negative view of the booklet, but I moved on to it's really well done and you are so well taken care of. So are there other supports, etc.? Yes, there are some video tutorials. So in the booklet, sometimes it's going to say, see the video for this. You can click, you arrive on a video for a specific technique. So it's not a video that shows you the shirt from A to Z, but it does show you specific techniques that you might need. So again, I thought that was amazing. Okay, any other notes? The first time I sewed a sleeves without a pucker in this entire shirt series. It's the first time I've sewn sleeves and I didn't need to unpick some bits to remove puckers. So that was quite a win, so I had to write it down. Yay for no puckers. But I actually sewed the sleeves flat. In the method she makes you do them, shut the sleeve and then insert the sleeves round, and I used to do it that way. It's just that for all the other shirts I did it flat, and I was like, oh, I just want to do it flat and I feel a bit more comfortable with that. I didn't follow the instructions just for that. I sewed the sleeve flat and the yoke that I doubled and did a burrito with, and that's it. Okay, we made it. Shirt number 4, we have made it. We have reached the end. Now, if you want to see more shirt content, next week I am rounding up all of the shirts I've made and kind of summarizing everything and comparing them and everything. So come back next week for more shirts. If you can't wait for more shirts, there's a playlist about all of the shirts I've made, so you can binge on shirts and have a field day. I would really like to thank Maja for tipping me a coffee. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, but thank you so much, Maja. This is immensely appreciated. And don't forget that Kate from Pattern Emporium has given you a 25% discount on this shirt if it's a shirt you would like to try. Don't forget that you can make anything, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and like and subscribe and all of those things, you know the drill. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!